I'm Ric Drasin. I have a lot of history in bodybuilding as a Mr. America winner and a competitor for years. In pro wrestling as the Equalizer. I did almost 40 years of pro wrestling, made a name in that. I designed the Gold's Gym logo, the little ball-headed weightlifter in 1973, and the World Gym Gorilla in 1976. So by way of the logos, I'm married to both gyms, Gold's and World. I still work out every day. I started a show called Ric's Corner about 7 years ago, which I host. I have almost 26 million viewers now on bodybuilding, nutrition, fitness, and pro wrestling. And currently, I still train 6 days a week. I had numerous injuries to get through. And I hobble to the gym and I drive home. When I was in high school, I always wanted to build a body. I was a lead guitarist in a rock band. And I had a girlfriend who was a homecoming queen cheerleader, and she was a year older than me. And she had 2 cousins that worked out and played on the football team. So I thought, well, maybe I'll start working out. Went over to work out on their barbecue benches and did some benches and this and that. And I started to see progress. And then I went to the YMCA and worked out a little bit harder. Then I went to a bigger gym in Bakersfield and worked out a little bit harder. And then all of a sudden I decided this is probably for me, bodybuilding. Along with my guitar playing, I entered a couple of powerlifting contests and won. And then I entered a Mr. Central California, I believe, and I won that in bodybuilding and thought, this is going to be my passion. I really enjoy this because the hard work you put into something will show in different ways, but when you put it into your body, everybody sees it. So it's a reward that you carry around with you in clothes and in your t-shirts and whatever. So I became a pro bodybuilder at the time and pro wrestler. In 1969, I actually moved to Torrance for Kellogg's cereal and worked out at Bill Pearl's gym in Inglewood. Now, Bill Pearl was a Mr. Universe. He was the guy that everybody wanted to look like, and he had this old beat-up gym in the middle of Inglewood, homemade weights and just really hardcore. But I went there for a year and I learned a lot. I learned a lot about bodybuilding. It was something that I wanted to learn from the pros. And then a year later, I moved over to Gold's in Venice, where I came face to face with Arnold Schwarzenegger at the back door, and we introduced ourselves. And he says, well, what are you working out today? I said, I'm doing chest. I'm going to start with benches. He says, well, I'll work with you. That point on, we started training together for probably 4 years. We meet at the gym every day, and we do chest and back one day, shoulders and arms and necks, and legs and necks. And then sometimes he'd pick me up at 7 o'clock in the morning outside my apartment, and we go to Zucchi's Deli and eat, and then we go to the gym. It was quite a lifestyle because all the greats were there, like Arnold, Ken Waller, Frank Zane, Franco Columbo, Danny Padilla, Ed Giuliani, and the list goes on and on and on. And Gold's at that time became the mecca of bodybuilding because Joe Weider, who had the biggest muscle magazine in the world, started filming all of his stuff in the gym and taking photos, and it was going worldwide. So all the bodybuilders around the world would see, oh my God, Gold's Gym is the place to be in Venice. And it's just a small building. But they would all come out here from foreign countries and want to be in the mecca of bodybuilding, and it made it famous. The place became famous. And then all of us that trained together, there was about 12 of us over the past, well, that was the 70s. Over all these years, this became the focus of bodybuilding today, was the golden era, which was the 70s. And we were known as the top bodybuilders in the world back in the 70s, and that's why it got its name. On Thursday nights, they used to have wrestling in town, a little small arena, a little round arena that really had that old-time atmosphere. And my dad used to take me every Thursday night, and we'd laugh and we'd have fun. We'd come home, he'd hit me with forearms, and we'd have headlocks. And I never thought that I wanted to do it. I was playing in a band. And on Thursdays, these wrestlers would come to town, a handful of them. They'd come to the YMCA weight room and work out. So I got to know them, and I said, you know, this is something I might want to try. What would I have to do? Because there were no schools. It was just you were brought in by an older guy who was a wrestler who trained you and worked with you and made you what you were. So they said, well, if you go down to Los Angeles and you go to Johnny Mae Young, who was the women's world champion at the Olympic Auditorium, she's training a few people. So I drove down, I met her, she took a look at me and had me take my shirt off. She said, boy, I could make money with you. And I took my mom with me. My dad had passed away. And she says, you sure you want to do this? And I said, yeah, I do want to do this. So I stuck with it, and I started driving back and forth, Bakersfield to LA, 5 days a week, you know, like 200-mile round trip, and I trained for it. And after about 6 months, I got booked on Channel 5 from the Olympic Auditorium with Dick Lane and Jimmy Lennon, who were icons back then at ringside. And it was a real rush, a real thrill to be able to get in the ring, see yourself on TV, and here you are starting your career. So that just inspired me to go farther and farther, and as I moved on, I started working territories, which they had back then, like Florida area, the East Coast, Alaska, the Northern California, Southern California, because you could go all around and work all year long. And that's what I did, and I kept my apartment at the beach at the same time, and I'd come home for months and train and go back out for a few weeks and come back home. And it worked. It's just something I wanted to do. And by being seen on TV here in Los Angeles, a lot of the producers and directors that do shows here would see me and they'd bring me in to do a television show or a commercial. So I got my Screen Actors Guild card and I started making money doing that stuff just from wrestling. If I had never had to wrestle, I don't know what would have happened, but at least that opened a lot of doors for me. I wrote a thing on my website about retirement, and it was it's when I hurt my legs, and I thought, man, I was really sad about that because I didn't want to give it up. But times come and go, and it was like being in a rock band. It came and it went. And wrestling came and it went, and bodybuilding came, but it stayed because I can do this the rest of my life in the gym. It's not going to go away from me. Of course, I won't be 35 and look like I did, but I'll do as good as I can. But I still have the image or the background of wrestling, so I carry that with me. And of course, bodybuilding you carry around forever. Like I said, when you build your body, it's something that doesn't go away unless you quit. And so people recognize you for what you've done because, oh yeah, you're in the gym all the time, yeah. And then other people walk up and say, do you work out? And if you can't tell, don't ask me. The day I do nothing is the day I die. That's the end of it. You have to be involved. You have to keep your brain active and you have to keep your body active. I can't imagine not working out. I can't imagine not going to the gym. It's good mentally, it's good spiritually, it's good physically. It's what keeps you going. When I tore my quads in 2001, I was in a wheelchair. I couldn't bend my legs for 6 weeks. I found my way into my car, took myself to the gym with a walker, and I worked up upper body every day, even with the leg braces on. When I got them off, I went back to do legs again. I have a lot of joint pain. My shoulders are pretty shot. I got fingers gone. My wrists hurt. My knees hurt. My lower back hurts. I need a knee replacement. But yes, it's painful just to get up and go and do stuff. But if I don't do it, it's going to be more painful. So going to the gym and being mobile and working yourself out keeps you more or less a little more pain-free than if you did nothing. So you don't want to do nothing. You don't want to sit around and do nothing. You've got to move. And you lead a healthier life because of that. I have friends that don't do anything half my age, and they sit on a couch and they're falling apart. They're just falling apart like cheap threads in a business suit. You know, I mean, it's just how it is. So I'd say you just don't give up on life. That's what it is. You know that I was in the hospital in June. I had pneumonia and congestive heart failure. I'd never been sick like that a day in my life, and lost 31 pounds sitting in the hospital thinking, I got to get to the gym. Doctor's telling me, you're going to die. You're going to die. You got to do what we say. You're going to go home. You're going to die. I said, I got to get to the gym. So I came home 3 days. I was in the house 5. I couldn't make it from the kitchen to the bathroom without my son helping me. Went back in the hospital. He says, you got to stay 5 days. And seriously, you're going to die. So I got out of the hospital. I came home. I ate well. About a few days went by. I drove myself to the gym with an oxygen tank. Did the bike every day. Following week did some machines. Following week did some weights. Following week did more weights. Before I knew it, I was back in good health and I put 16 pounds of muscle back on. So your mind tells you what you can do. And if your mind is strong, you can do anything. If your mind is weak, forget it. I've often thought, boy, if I could just get back in the ring, one more match. And I told somebody, we'll just lock it up and take it home real quick. But, you know, if my knee was okay and I'm going to get surgery this year, and if I could get in and do like 3 or 4 minutes, 5 minutes, whatever, I would do it. I think I would do it. But I got to be very careful because I'm a fragile human being. I'm very precious to a lot of people, and I don't want to hurt myself and make them feel bad that something happened to the Ric. I wouldn't do anything different with my life because I enjoyed every ounce of everything I did. I liked playing in the rock band. I liked wrestling. I liked bodybuilding. I liked acting. I liked doing commercials. I can't find one thing that I would do different. It would just worked out great, and I don't know if I could even improve upon it. Unless wrestling, you know, if I was 6'8", 350 pounds, it would have been a little bit different look for me. But even though I have to work with what I have, and I'm happy with it. I can't imagine going back and changing anything. Not at all.